What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Fantasy Football Game Show presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-host, John Luke. How's it going, JL?
Fantastic. How you doing, Simon?
I'm doing well. Joining us today as well for this Mock Draft Monday are two more members of the Front Yard fam. We've got Jay and Joey joining us as well. How's it going, Jay? What's up, Joey?
What's happening?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to be here on a Monday.
This is like a Monday fun day. Forget Fridays. Today we've got a whole crew in here. Also joining us, coming back to the show, we convinced him to make another appearance after we brought him on for the Australian Animals.
I had to bribe him, actually.
is our good friend Sheehan. You can find him on Twitter at Sheehan Solo. It is right there below his beautiful face on the screen. He is the Director of Operations, Managing Editor, and host over at Sleeper Wire, and the co-host of Screen Pass on 32-Bit. And the #1 Australian NFL fantasy writer. I'm pretty sure that's an official title. Sheehan, thank you so much and welcome to the stream.
Thanks for having me back on the show, guys. I had so much fun last time that I've been waiting with bated breath to come back on. So I really needed some arm twisting to come back.
Well, I'm glad Jay twisted your arm a little bit. Better to twist your arm than what JL was having twisted yesterday on our other stream.
It was my nips.
It was his nips. I think we set the record for most time nips has been said in one stream on the FanDuel YouTube channel.
Oh, easy.
I'm not positive, but I would have to bet it's a record.
JL did the first time he said nips. Like, that was the record.
That was it. I set the record.
Yeah.
And then we just kept on going. We're shattering records here. We got Chris in here in the chat saying, will the link for the draft be in Discord? That's a great reminder to everybody. For Mock Draft Mondays, we will post the link in the Discord first. So if you want to grab a spot in these drafts going forward, make sure you join our Discord. I saw Craig posted a link in the chat, but we can get another one in there for you guys. That's where we will always post the link first. And any leftover spots we'll give out on the stream. But this week there are none. Draft is full already. So you got to get in that Discord if you want a spot. Guys, before we get started, a couple reminders. One, if you're not already following our guest, Sheehan, go and do that right now. Like I said, you can find him on Twitter at Sheehan Solo, right there below his beautiful face. So make sure you go and follow him. He is one of our favorites in this space. And if you need any more convincing, just go back and watch our Australian Animals Battle Royale bracket. He came in ready to go, did his research.
That was amazing.
And came in ready to play. So make sure you guys are following him. After you follow him, if you're watching this video, that means you're already on our YouTube or Twitch channels. If you're on our YouTube channel, hit that like button and then make sure you subscribe to our channel at Front Yard Fantasy. On Twitch, hit that follow button as well. It's the easiest way to show your support for what we're doing. And guys, as the offseason approaches, we wanted to know a little bit about what you guys thought, some feedback on what we've been doing here. So JL, I know you've got a survey set up. You want to tell them a little bit about what we're doing there?
Yeah. It's just a survey for everyone who's been watching us, encouraging us, supporting us all this season and before, just to try and get a gauge on what games you guys like, what content you're enjoying, where you're getting value, and how we can improve. And so I'm gonna throw a link in the chat. If you have time, we would be so grateful if you complete it for us. It helps us out a ton. And I'll keep posting this probably in the next couple weeks. We'll bring it up probably each show. But yeah, whenever you have time, fill this out. So here it is.
There you go. Awesome. Thank you, Joe. Yeah, the guys, that would be super helpful for us. We want to make sure we're doing stuff that you guys find valuable or entertaining. So if you guys fill that out, it will help us make better content for you guys. We got Rock Lee in here, excited for Mock Draft Monday. Welcome in. And he wants to know, Scott Fish, are you the actual Scott Fish or just a burner account? And the answer is
unfortunately.
Both. It is the actual Scott Fish, but this is his burner account. But he names all of his burner accounts with his real name.
Yes.
So if you ever, it's a Scott Fish burner named Scott Fish. And Rock Lee in here saying, smash that like button as soon as you get in, people. Thank you so much, Rock. We appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, bro. We got Scott in here as well, asking how you get in this mock draft. It's got to be in the Discord, and I believe Craig posted that in there. Welcome in, Craig. Glad to have you here as well. Maria in the chat, ready for Mock Draft Monday. 2 minutes away was a second ago. And Scott in here saying, I specifically avoid their Discord because I'm afraid they have been talking crap about me for a year, and I'll find out and cry.
It's true.
That's fair.
But we also talk crap to your face. So
it's not true. It's actually more than a year. It goes way back.
It goes way years,
time, basically
decades.
And don't worry, Scott. We use your burner account name, not your real name, every time we talk shit about you. And
I just call him Backpack Guy.
Backpack guy.
Travel tips, dirty underpants in Paris. Scott, I believe that was his travel tip, right? Leave your dirty underpants in Paris. We got JR in here saying J-Wall is the man. And guys, we did make an announcement today. J-Wall has officially joined the Front Yard Fantasy team against JL's wishes. He fought against it tooth and nail, but he got outvoted. J-Wall is now officially on the team, and J-Wall saying what we're all thinking. No, JR, you are the man. If we had to pick one of you to be the man, I think it's JR.
Yeah, at least you're right about something, J-Wall.
And Scott said, I love how I keep begging to be part of FYF, and then they hire Jay, then Joey, then J-Wall, and he's thinking about changing his name to Jot.
That'll do it.
That'll do it. That's a lot of
Unlock the
step.
puzzle. Yep.
If I didn't get in on ground level, they never would have hired me with a name like Simon. It would not have happened.
We had to legally change your name. You just don't know it yet.
Oh,
So
you
your
guys
name is
submitted the
John
paperwork
legally.
for me?
Yep. So congratulations. That's why I'm on today, to announce it to you. Yep.
And Scott said, I assume Simon has been on my side since day one. Yeah, absolutely. We need more S names over here, Scott.
S gang represent.
Oh, there we go. The SH threw me off. I forgot it was an S too.
That's all right. People do forget.
The second letter threw me off, but even though it's the first letter, but it's okay.
It's the sound. It's all about the sound. In the words of Carly Rae Jepsen. Guys, today we are doing if you haven't listened to the sound, it's the best song ever. Go listen.
We just broke the record for most time sent in the words of Carly Rae Jepsen.
Yes.
Podcast. Congratulations, guys. We did it.
On a fantasy football
First,
stream.
then
Yes.
Carly Rae
Thank you.
Jepsen.
You know what? I have to imagine Chris Paul Towers has said in the words of Carly Rae Jepsen at some point on his stream. That man loves her so much. Guys, today we are doing a mock draft. Like I mentioned, we are doing a PPR Dynasty Startup mock. Sheehan has joined us for this. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the draft board so we can go ahead and get started with this mock. We'll keep answering your questions in the chat throughout. So if you guys have any questions, commentary on the draft, just throw it in there and we'll be glad to go through it while we are drafting today. Guys, here is the draft board. We've got Sheehan drafting from the 3 spot, JL from the 5, Jay from the 6, and Joey from the 9. And J-Wall, I know he picked that spot just to snipe you guys right in between JL, Jay, and Joey. It should be fun right there. Sheehan, did you pick the 3 spot for any particular reason? Do you have a inkling as to why you picked there, someone you were targeting, or is it just where you wanted to go?
There's certainly a couple of names that I'm interested in. I'm happy with any of those top 3. So if anyone slips to me, I'm happy. But I wanted to be ahead of all you guys before you take my picks. Seemingly, inevitably, in every draft I'm in, I draft at the back, whether it's redraft, dynasty, startup, whatever. I rarely have an early pick. So it's always just nice to see how the other half lives.
I like it.
Cool. I'm going to go ahead and start this draft, guys. Swamp is up first, so hopefully he makes his pick. So Swamp's got the first pick, JR picking second. While we're going over this, let's go ahead and look at what the roster construction is for this draft. You've got 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, and 2 flex. Obviously a truncated bench because we're only going to be doing 12 rounds on the show today. So a full dynasty draft would probably be an additional 10 rounds. We've got Craig in the chat saying, I think it just shows that Maria, Tim, and Simon are the ringleaders and they are amassing a J army for some nefarious purpose. A Jarmy. Yeah, you better watch out when our Jarmy is fully built.
You don't want to meet our Jarmy.
The first iteration of the Jarmy was, in fact, with all mason jars. It wasn't as effective, so we had to reevaluate how we were constructing this, and we decided the J name route would be best.
And it was just a bunch
Stuck
of guys
on 44 for you guys on the screen, or is that just me?
I have to go back to the page for it to update on here for some reason, so I will do that periodically. It looks like Swamp is going to time out with the first pick of this draft, but Jonathan Taylor, I think that makes sense. If he comes back, we'll take him off auto draft. Cam in the chat saying, warning, I'm a beast in Dynasty PPR draft.
Bring it,
you
Cam,
guys better watch out. And what's up, Albert? Welcome in. Glad to have you here.
Albert.
We got JR in the chat saying, where is Josh? And on command, he shows up. Hope everyone is doing fantastic today.
Josh is dead. I'm going to be honest with you guys.
That is actually another one of Scott's burners. That's the only one that is not named Scott Fish.
Scott Fish is doing a weekend at Bernie's thing with Josh right now.
Weekend at Burners.
Weekend at Burners.
Hey.
Tim in here saying, don't you dare forget Fridays. I promise we won't forget Fridays, Tim. We're 4 picks in, and Sheehan, I like that pick. Justin Jefferson, you liked him over any of the running backs in the dynasty league right here besides Jonathan Taylor, who obviously went first?
Yeah, it was between Chase and Jefferson for me. If they'd both gone, I would have gone for Taylor. But for me, you build your dynasty roster around your wide receivers, and you top up where you can in rookie drafts with running backs or off the waiver wire.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's generally how I like to build my dynasty teams as well. But I feel like we've seen more running back heavy first halves of these dynasty drafts, at least last year compared to what we've seen in previous years. Scott Fishing, you're saying something is missing. I feel like it's hand motions. Yeah, we're gonna need someone to step up the hand motions with Josh out today.
I digress.
Oh, and you took Jay. I see your pick with DeAndre Swift. I know his value has risen a ton this year. He's now a mid-first round pick in this draft. Did you take that because you love DeAndre Swift or because you wanted to snipe Jay Wall?
That was just an extra bonus. Swift is one of the few guys that I would take in the first round when it comes to running backs in a dynasty league. I'm with you. I would have liked to get one of Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson. I didn't expect them to be there, but
Same.
in dynasty for me, Taylor, Najee, and Swift are in a tier of their own for me. So I was basically the only guy I wouldn't have taken there is CMC. We've JL and I had this discussion. I just not in dynasty. I don't want them. So I think I'll still be able to get being at the 6th pick. I'll still be able to get a high end wide receiver 1, and I'm ecstatic to lock down my RB1.
Now, JL, that does bring up your pick. I think it's going to be a little bit controversial in dynasty formats with his injuries recently, his age, and maybe his perceived wear. But I think I'm more in line with you than maybe some others on Christian McCaffrey's dynasty value. You want to talk a little bit about why you took him over the likes of DeAndre Swift and some of these other younger backs?
Yeah, it's silly to me that it's controversial. It's silly to me that last offseason he was consensus number 1. I understand that he's a year older and the injury concerns people are concerned, but like to completely drop off, I think is ridiculous. He dealt with an injury this last season before that, which if anything gives him less wear and tear. He's already
more tear, less wear,
more tear. He's already a specialist in the passing game, so I think he has a long career ahead of him. He's only 25 years old. That's 2 years older than DeAndre Swift and Najee Harris. That's it, 2 years. And so
there's a lot more carries on that body, though.
Yeah, but that's fine. It's fine. It's dynasty. I'm not looking for until infinity. I'm looking for 3 to 5 years, and that's Christian McCaffrey's going to be relevant for that time.
I just don't trust him to be on the field.
I don't think that his injuries are indicative of something that's going to last and like continually ail him. I think he's just was unfortunate that he had 2 injuries that happened back to back.
That's fair. I think we'll see his value probably a little bit lower than where you drafted him, JL, like in most dynasty drafts, but I don't think that's a ridiculous spot to be taking him.
And when he was on the field, he looked good. When he came back from the injury, he looked good until he got re-injured. And so I don't think that I think once we start to see him perform and come back and actually perform for like sustained amount of time, it's going to be like, oh man, we were all down on CMC. Whoops.
My thought process here is maybe they do want to start like managing his workload a little bit, right? But even 75% of that workload for Christian McCaffrey is still a top 5 back in my eyes. Like I still view it as a top 5 running back if he gets 75% of the touches that he's gotten in these crazy volume years.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Midnight, what's up? Welcome in, saying good afternoon, fellas. Glad to have you here, Midnight. And Scott saying, come for the game, stay for the Carly Rae Jepsen quotes. Yep, that's our slogan. One of many. Rock Lee has a question for us. He wants to know, who are you guys higher on next year, Visca or KJ Hamler? Chian, we'll come to you first. Are you higher on either of these guys, or which guy are you higher on?
I'm higher on a big bag of garbage, and then probably Visca, and then KJ Hamler. I am vehemently on the record that Laviska Shenault is not a very good football player,
and that's where our friendship ends.
It's the reality of the situation he finds himself in. He had plenty of opportunity this year. He's obviously going to grow in that team. The Jags can't get any worse, but I just don't see it happening. I think he was overdrafted a lot this year. I think, Jay, you and your fellow Visca believers have a lot to answer for. But he's,
No, I fully admit I was on the Visca train and I was wrong. I'll admit when I'm wrong, and I was. I still think there's some hope. If he's used the proper way, I've never tried to say that he was a wide receiver 1 or even a high end wide receiver 2, but if he's used in a Debo type way, he could return. He could put up some wide receiver 2 numbers.
I mean, we can only hope, but I think this season's shown that Debo is a freak because we've seen these kind of hybrid guys. We're going to see more of them come through because they're the playmakers at the college level. Even Kadarius Toney, Elijah Moore, Demetric Felton, these sorts of guys, and they really have to hit and stick in the right offense. Debo's found himself in a lucky place. So I'm never going to root against a guy to be successful, but I just don't see it happening for this guy. And KJ Hamler's just too far down the order in a franchise which is dying in the ass.
I couldn't have put it more eloquently myself for KJ Hamler, but that's exactly right. It's not that I'm particularly high on Visca, but I think there's upside there that doesn't exist with Hamler. So I'll take the shot on the guy who could develop into a back end wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, whereas I don't really see that as a possibility for KJ Hamler. Joey, I wanted to come to you about your pick that you just made. So you took Cooper Kupp in the second round. Cooper Kupp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He was the 9th wide receiver off the board in a dynasty league. How do you feel about where you got him? Do you think this is appropriate? Would you have taken him sooner?
I don't think I would have taken him sooner. I think the receivers fell off. Actually, Waddle went a little earlier than I've seen him go, which I'm not sure if I would rather have Waddle over Kupp, which is kind of crazy to say, but it's dynasty. I mean, Kupp's my number 2 wide receiver next year for redraft, and this is dynasty, but you got to win one year,
Yeah, you do have to win one year. And I think it'll be interesting to see where Cooper Kupp goes coming off this dominant season, because I think he'll be the consensus wide receiver 1 in redraft next year. But he's got some age on him compared to some of these younger, super talented guys that are in the league. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes. We got Marty in here. Marty, thank you so much for completing that survey. We really appreciate it.
Marty.
And Scott saying, when the guys came up to me at FSGA and told me about their plan to start a fantasy show, but their unique value proposition was all J names, I was skeptical, but here we are. We're still working on it. We're still.
God, I really like you. I really like you. That's the only one I know.
We got Cam in the chat with a question. Said Darius Slay is recruiting Mike Williams to come to the Eagles next year. Thoughts, JL? You're probably the highest on Mike Williams here. How do you feel about Mike Williams to the Eagles?
That makes me sad for Mike Williams. Makes me very sad for Mike Williams. I think it would be good for the Eagles. The Eagles need more pass catching weapons on the team, but they don't pass a lot. That would be a huge downgrade for Mike Williams.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I think it would be great for the Eagles, bad for Mike Williams' fantasy value, but yeah, it could make sense from a football perspective. Pangs Picks, what's up, Pangs? And hello, cuties. How are y'all doing?
Better now that you're here,
cutie. And we got Dan in here saying hello, friends. Glad to have you here, Dan.
What up, Dan?
Scott Fish saying in this copycat league, they're so going to try to Patterson Debo Visca next year. He'll be a super uber poor man's version, but he has no faith in Hamler.
You throw an extra super in there because he's no Debo. Not even close.
Debo. He is no Debo. Davis wants to know, are we drafting Andrew Luck? He was on TV recently. Yeah.
He was not with that mustache that he's rocking.
Anyone who's been on TV recently, I think it's fair game to draft, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's fair.
I'm going to take a JB from the halftime coverage of the CBS games.
Okay, perfect. You might be able to grab him in the 5th or 6th. I wouldn't reach too high on him, though.
All right.
You got to get your guy.
Can we kick Cam out of this draft, please?
Why, is he killing it too hard?
Yeah, he keeps stealing my guys.
He did warn you, JL. He warned you before we started.
And I don't like it.
So Sheehan, you started with one wide receiver. You started with Justin Jefferson, and then went double running back, Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, and I don't want to say old, but these older running backs compared to some of the young talent, right? Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry. I think some people are discounting them in dynasty leagues. Is this generally how you like to build your dynasty rosters?
In a broader sense, yes. It's best player available for me always. Yeah. Nick Chubb, not as old as people think he is, and Derrick Henry, as far as I'm concerned, is still Derrick Henry. Both of those guys are going to be the focal point of their offense. If there is another guy who's there, whether that's Hunt or someone else with Henry, they're going to be trying to spell them, keep them fresh. I think it's good news. So, you don't win extra prizes for winning a dynasty league down the road. You may as well try and win it all in the first year.
100%. And I think these guys maybe are discounted a little bit too much. Like Derrick Henry, I'm not convinced he doesn't have another 3 years of this insane workload in him. Just based on what we've seen, how many times he's proven wrong that the narrative about tread on the tires affects everyone equally. Derrick Henry has overcome that year and year again. So I like the pick.
Me too.
JL, you started double running back, Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara before grabbing your first wide receiver in DJ Moore. Are you comfortable with DJ Moore as your wide receiver one after what we saw this year?
Oh God, no. Oh God, no. Yeah, I mean, in Dynasty, that's fine. I'm happy to have him this season. I think it might be tough. It's going to all depend on what they do at quarterback. DJ Moore, we talked about extensively on the show, but he was a target monster. He was only he was within 10 or 15 targets of some of the Devontae Adams and some of these big name guys that were able to turn those targets into fantasy production. DJ Moore just wasn't able to do that. His offense is not conducive to success. Hopefully they're able to fix that. They get some offensive line help. They get a quarterback who can throw the ball. But I'm concerned, certainly concerned at having him as my wide receiver one going into the season.
I get that. I think the situation's a little concerning, but JL, I actually love that pick. I think getting DJ Moore in the third round, I've got him as my 7th overall wide receiver in my dynasty rankings based on that talent and that volume. The situation has to improve at some point. So I love the value of DJ Moore right there. We got Scott Fish in the chat saying Sheehan is crushing this draft just from a value standpoint on those backs. And I have to agree. It's looking pretty good down there. I'll be curious to see if you ruin it in the following rounds.
Oh, I absolutely will. JL, are you going to stay in the NFC South the entire draft?
The whole time, yep. That's what I do.
That's how he drafts all of his fantasy teams. He picks a division and he sticks in it.
Yep.
We got Scott in here saying, I just need to say, guys, I'm very busy. My time is very valuable. The fact that I spend almost every day for an hour watching your show truly shows how little I care about my time and its value.
Damn it. That got me.
Oh,
I was not expecting that. Thank you, I think.
That's so nice. So kind of you to value your time so little to give it to us. I really just appreciate it so much.
Nice to yourself, Scott.
Is it like catfishing, Scott fishing, where you try and catfish someone with a burner account named after yourself, but reel them in with a really a long joke?
Scott fishing. Think we can get that on MTV? Let's pitch it.
There was definitely an idea we had at some point about doing a phishing scam on Scott Fish. Can't remember the details of it, but we definitely whiteboarded it at some point.
We should send out emails.
Why does that have to be something mean? Why can't it be nice? Like, let's just go fishing with Scott Fish. Like, no, it doesn't have to be something rude.
Fishing is boring.
Go and see fish with
fishing. Scamming is fun.
We should go to Bass Pro Shops and fill out job applications for them at every location.
Yes. Sign them up for all the sweepstakes giveaways they do.
I think next year when invites are going out, we should send out invites for the Scott Fish Bowl, but spell it PH. Like spell it the Scott Fish Bowl and see how many people click on it.
How many emails we can get.
Then we get a bunch of fish fans.
Yeah, that's true.
You're right. That just backfired on me. Scott also letting you know, JL, they will get a quarterback who can throw the ball. That is their job. They all throw the ball.
Did they have a quarterback this year that can throw the ball?
Tell that to Sam Darnold.
Not well, but he can throw it.
That is true.
Excuse me, guys. Oh, sorry. Jay, so you went Travis Kelce here in the 3rd round. I love that pick. I think that's a great value. He's still my dynasty tight end one, but are you concerned at all about the age grabbing him there? That's a pretty high value pick, right?
I'm not. You guys know this. I am not somebody who tends to go tight end early, but that value I just could not pass up. This time last year, he was going in the 1st round of dynasty drafts. So there's no question I was passing that up. I have 3 players, running back, wide receiver, and tight end, all that could be in the conversation to finish the season next year. at the number one at their position. So I'm ecstatic. I still think Travis Kelce has a couple years left of elite production. Like everybody said, I'm not looking. I'm on the clock. Let me make this pick real quick.
Oh, damn you, J-Wall.
He definitely did that on purpose, JL,
Oh,
without
yeah.
a doubt. I'm not even
Oh,
sure if he likes Travis Etienne.
and
I think
super
he just
team so.
All right,
Damn
sorry.
it.
And then hopefully I snipe JL there too. But
You didn't.
I'm just happy with I'm really happy with how my draft is turning out. I think Kelsey still has a couple years left of elite production, and I'm not looking 10 years down the road. I'm looking the next 2 to 3 years to try to win.
No, this looks like you're building a win now team with Devontae
Yeah.
Adams, Travis Kelce, DeAndre Hopkins, and I like it. It looks good. And I think Big Dylan is over there flirting with me with all those wide receivers that he's taken so
Big
far.
Dylan.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's flirting by taking 4 wide receivers in a row to start this draft. I love it.
If that's all it took to flirt with you. You should have let me know before the draft started.
Maybe just listen to me, Jay.
Let me get the bonks out. I feel like I'm gonna need them.
Yeah, we need some bonks.
We might need some bonks. JL, you got 15 seconds here. Should I distract you while you're trying to make your pick?
Please don't. How old is Mike Evans?
Man, every time
NFC
not
South.
old enough. Jay Wall said, damn me to heck. I like how you said damn and then didn't say hell. I was thinking about drafting Etienne in the 3rd round. Well, you got him in the 4th round. It worked out for you. That does bring us to Jay Wall's 3rd round pick, though, that I wanted to ask you guys about. Do you think that's an appropriate value for Cam Akers coming off this injury? Do you think it's too late, too early? Sheehan, we'll come to you first. How do you feel about Cam Akers in the middle of the 3rd in this format?
I don't hate it. I like him more than the players who've gone after him, which is always a good sign.
Oh, and it is your pick, right? Oh, you just grabbed someone. I'm it's my specialty to ask people questions right whenever it's their pick. It's my
3 for
go-to.
3, just 3 in a row.
It's helpfully
Triple kill.
helpfully distracting.
You're really good at it too, Simon. I'll have to say.
Thanks. Thank you. I've been practicing.
Let's
Jill,
just-
how do you feel about that Cam Akers value? Do you think that's an appropriate
Too
spot?
early. It's
Too
slightly
early.
Just slightly too early. I'd take Dobbins ahead of him. I would probably take
Aaron
Zeke ahead of
Jones?
him. I would definitely take Aaron Jones ahead of him.
I don't know
Jay, I
about
see you making some
Zeke.
faces.
I agree with the other two. I'd take Dobbins. I'd take Aaron Jones. I don't think I can take Zeke over Akers. I do. It's definitely too early. But I've got no interest in Zeke. He's a what did they put on? I always still try to call it Roto World. NBC Sports Edge. They said pass blocking specialist Zeke. I mean, that's pretty much all he's done. Yeah, he had 1,000 yards, but did he really have that many games that you were excited to have him in your lineup? So he's another one that's just wearing down. He's an elite talent, but most of these running backs just fall off a cliff, and I'm afraid that's going to happen with Zeke sooner rather than later.
I get it. Sheehan, so would you take Cam Akers? Oh, it's your pick. Look, I did it again. I'll let you pick.
You're so good.
I'll do it again. So you're the player who took Zeke down in the 4th round. Would you prefer Cam Akers over Zeke in this conversation, or would you prefer Zeke?
I went for Zeke because he was best player available.
Right.
To my mind, and in terms of positional value, you're never going to know how someone's going to bounce back. But we saw that he heals like Wolverine. Apparently, that's obviously a fantastic offense in LA. We've kind of seen who Zeke is. We've probably seen the best of him. If this was a real league, if I could squeeze another year out of him, I'd be very pleased at sort of low end RB1, RB2 production. That's fine, and I'd be probably pretty happy just to let him rot on my roster for the rest of his career. In saying that, if I wasn't setting up to win now, I'd go Akers.
Makes sense.
I think for Cam Akers too, his ADP is going to depend on how he looks in the postseason. If the Rams are able to get a couple games, and he doesn't have to put up huge numbers, but if you see that explosiveness that had everybody excited last year, I wouldn't be surprised to see him, his value go up to, ADP go up to the late 2nd round.
Dale, every time you make it ring in my ears, you make it go ding, ding, ding.
Why me?
Ding, because you wait till the last 10 seconds. So it counts me
Turn
down
your sound
every
up.
time. No, because then what if I'm not picking, so it's okay if I turn my sound off.
Nice
this
pick,
time.
Jay. That was who I was deciding between.
Thank you.
Scott said, I also feel it's too early, yet somehow I would take Cam over all three backs you guys just listed. Dobbins is close, though. Rather get him in the fourth. So maybe it's not too early, or maybe just everyone's drafting all these backs too early, Scott. Cam in here has a question for us. He says Elijah Mitchell or Michael Carter. Obviously, Michael Carter gets hurt more, right? Mitchell plays through injuries. He's kind of a beast. Joey, how do you feel about this one? Who do you prefer in Dynasty, Elijah Mitchell or Michael Carter?
Elijah Mitchell. I was just about to make my pick. I was on the clock. Sorry, I was looking.
Hey,
sorry for the laughter.
It's not quite your pick yet. I missed it on this one.
No,
I didn't time it
that's
right.
good. Yeah, I would rather. I really like what I saw at Elijah Mitchell this year, and I know that backfield's crowded in San Francisco, but and I like Michael Carter too. But I would go with Mitchell.
Mitchell for Joey. JL, what about you?
I would rather have Mitchell.
Mitchell. Jay, I'm guessing it's Mitchell for you as well.
Yeah, it's Mitchell. It's close. I think Carter's more talented, but I like the situation for Mitchell a lot better in San Francisco.
And Sheehan, what about you? Are you agreeing with these guys, or are you going Michael Carter?
No, give me Michael Carter all day. I love that situation. Yes, New York are a dumpster fire, both teams there, and the city itself. Last year, when it was at the Senior Bowl, Carter really popped off the screen. When you watched the NC State tape from last year, Carter popped off the screen. He's just got something about him. I'm not a great scout for running backs. I'm happy to admit that, but I love Michael Carter, and I love the potential he has as a 3-down back. And that's what you're looking for, certainly in fantasy at this time in the draft.
Yeah, I'm with you, Sheehan. I think I would prefer Michael Carter, but these guys are probably in a similar tier for me whenever you break down the rankings. But I slightly prefer Carter, and Sheehan, you hit the nail on the head as to why. Scott Fish says Mitchell. He would prefer Mitchell in that situation.
Smart Scott.
And then said Michael Carter the second is a DB. Whenever you said I like Michael Carter 2, Joey. So the Michael Carter 2 is a DB. Michael Carter 1.
Come on, Joey, you're better than that.
Scott Fish, I'm so glad you're in the chat today. I just like to say that. Like, just so happy. I woke up. I'm like, I don't know how my day's going to go today. And then I see Scott Fish is in the chat. And I'm just like, wow, it's going to be a tremendous day. Really glad you're here, buddy.
No sarcasm in that at all. I can just feel the sincerity. Nathan had a question for us. He said, thoughts on Bateman going forward? Prefer him over someone like Amari Cooper? So Sheehan, I guess directly, Bateman or Amari Cooper? Which one of these guys would you prefer in Dynasty?
Dynasty, probably Bateman. I've been a big Amari Cooper guy. I had Bateman as my wide receiver 3 in the last class. And I have been a long time Amari Cooper, but I'm prepared to kind of wash my hands of Cooper now.
Oh no, we've lost another one. Another Amari Cooper truther out the window. Jay, are you preferring Bateman or Amari Cooper?
It's closer than I would like to admit, but I'm still going Amari Cooper. I'm with you, Simon. We're both Amari Cooper truthers, and I still believe in the talent. Whether he's in Dallas or whether he's somewhere else, I still think he's got a few years left of top end production. Bateman, he's got the talent, but what's the passing volume going to be? And there's also Marquise Brown, who Lamar Jackson has a relationship with. You've got Mark Andrews there. Is there going to be enough passing volume to support 3 wide receivers? So it's long term, 10 years down the road, yeah, Bateman. But if you're looking next 2 to 3, give me Cooper.
Yeah.
Cooper Truther, also a great team name.
Yeah.
Cooper Truther. I'm with you, Jay. Like Joey, how do you feel about this? Would you be taking Cooper or Bateman in a Dynasty league?
Cooper. Yeah, I'm still with Cooper.
Yeah, as a Mr. Cooper. We'll come to you last, Jay. Bateman or Cooper?
I hate Amari Cooper. I hate him.
So rude.
But
that's not nice. What did he do to you?
I would probably take him over Rashad Bateman at this point. Just market value alone, I feel like you should probably take Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
But I'd be trying to trade him.
That's fair. I've got both of these guys as wide receiver 2s. In Dynasty, Amari Cooper just a little bit higher than Rashad Bateman for me. Peng's picks with a really good point says, I don't get why we don't draft based on looks. Yeah, that's a great draft strategy. It's funny. I called my mom yesterday and she goes, I don't know who it was, but there is a player on the 49ers who is the most handsome man I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, you mean
Kyle
Jimmy Garoppolo?
Yeah, George Kittle.
She was just like, she'd never like watched a 49ers game, I guess, but my dad turned it on and she was just blown
She went
away
to the
by
other
how
room and turned it on.
how handsome this man was. She couldn't believe it. And I was like,
channel
Mom,
is this on?
don't worry. When he first became a starting quarterback in the league, the announcers could say nothing but how handsome that man was every time he was on the screen. Do you guys remember that? Like they would show his face.
He was banging that 40-year-old porn star. That was a good story for a couple of weeks.
Here you go, Mom. Now there's some more fun facts about your favorite quarterback.
Likes an older woman. That's
we got Cam in here as well saying no Renfro in the first 5 rounds. Blasphemy.
Wow. True.
Yeah, complete and utter blasphemy. We'll see whenever he does go. Good thing Truly Epic isn't in here to yell at us for that. You know what? If Truly Epic was in the draft, Renfro would be gone by now, I feel like. Brady saying Bateman easily. So on the Bateman side over there, and Mr. Scampers, Cooper Truthers. I'm taking that as affirmation that you are part of the Cooper Truthers.
Mr. Scamper is still my favorite commenter name that we have. They laugh every time.
Mr. Scamper said they had dinner, Shay.
Yeah, they did.
Now pull that one back.
Dinner and breakfast.
There goes Mike Williams to Jay. So we talked about it, Jay. Mike Williams' value a little bit earlier down here in the 6th round. Do you think the reason his value is here is because of what he's done on the field, or are there concerns about him switching teams? How do you feel about the location where you just drafted Mike Williams?
I'm happy to get him here. There is definitely some concern. We don't know where he's going to wind up. If he winds up in Philadelphia, a low passing volume team, I would definitely be concerned. But we saw at the beginning of the year, the flashes, he's got the potential to put up top 10 numbers, consistently, no, but I definitely think he's in the high end wide receiver 2 range if he's put in the right situation. So to get him as my wide receiver 3, when I already have 2 guys who are a little older as my top 2 wide receivers, I'll take that in the 6th round.
Do you guys think there's a world where we get a Mike Williams renaissance? Like he leaves teams, goes to a better situation, and all of a sudden he is that like early 1st round talent that he was drafted to be on the field? Like, is that in the range of outcomes?
Where's the better situation?
Yeah.
You're right. I guess from a usage standpoint, he could be in a better situation, right? With like how the team wants to use him. But like similar to how he was used early in the season this year. I'm a big
Mike Williams guy. You're right. He'd have to be a 1 somewhere, but where that is, who's a good quarterback without a 1 that he's going to slot in? I think he works nice as a Robin to a better Batman. He might be the one if they decide to move on from Keenan Allen. Yeah, Saints, but who's their quarterback?
Jameis. If they keep Jameis.
That would be a fun connection, I feel like. Jameis and Mike. Jameis is just a slinger. Mike will go up to get any single ball. He just slings the ball around the field, and Mike Williams,
the equivalent of a slinger as a wide receiver.
I feel like the only 2, like if he goes to another team and he's another 2, if he goes to Green Bay, that's an improvement. But other than that, I can't even think of one.
Yeah. I'm not.
And even that's debatable. Sure. Like
he's pretty similar to Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Mr. Scamper says the Browns. Mike Williams on the Browns. There isn't really like an alpha 1 wide receiver there. Jarvis Landry.
They don't have a good quarterback either. So
hey, when Baker's healthy, he is a good quarterback. When he's not healthy, he is horrible.
I just said that to get under your skin.
Yeah.
He's a good quarterback. He's just not a dynasty, like a franchise quarterback.
I can fight you guys on this. If we look at numbers from when Baker Mayfield's healthy, he's an above average NFL quarterback, but unfortunately he played through injury most of the year. Now Case Keenum would have been the better option to start for the Browns the vast majority of this season. Like you're not going to catch me saying Baker should have been the starter all year. He was injured. They should have played Case, but I think Baker can support a wide receiver 1 like Mike Williams in this offense, but just one of them with how much they want to run the ball. Back to the running back. She went 3 running backs fairly early and then grabbed AJ Dillon on the turn here. Is this an upside pick, or do you think there's a chance he kind of takes over this backfield?
I think we saw that he's at least equal of Aaron Jones, if not more, over the past month of the season. I think we'll see that bear out over the playoffs. There's not too many committee running backs who have standalone value. Dillon is one of them, so that works for me. And again, it's best player available. If I was actually on the clock in a dynasty draft, I'd be trading back here. To be honest, I probably would have traded back at the 5-3 as well for Smith.
That makes sense. Yeah, that would be fun to do one of these drafts with draft pick trading, but it would have to be like a 6-round draft or a 4-hour stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it
one of
never
the two.
fails. You do a startup and somebody says, "Oh, this pick's on the block," and then 6 days later they still haven't picked. Like nobody wants to trade up. It never fails.
And Matt coming in here says, no wide receiver says, I want Baker Mayfield to be my QB. I'll give that argument to you, Matt. I'll give that one to you. Mr. Scambers had an interesting spot for Williams. He said Williams replacing the plethora of wide receiver threes in Buffalo. So Gabe Davis, Cole Beasley, Emmanuel Sanders, get Mike Williams in that offense. That could be
JL
fun.
might turn into a Buffalo Bills fan with Stephon Diggs
Hell
and Mike
no.
Williams on the same team.
Oh,
I've never understood your
That would-
vitriol for the Bills.
They ruined Sammy
Fine.
Watkins. That's where my
Wow.
vitriol comes from. Is that it's their fault? Sammy Watkins' career was derailed. They didn't listen to him when he was injured, and he was telling them my foot is not something's not right in my foot, and the coach just completely dismissed him. So he said, "Fine, I'll show you." And he goes out and practice and like goes super hard on some route, and then like the screw shot through his foot. Like something wasn't right, and they didn't listen to him. So that is why I hate the Bills. Don't hurt me, Bills
Calm
Mafia.
down. Jeez, I had no clue. My gosh.
Yeah, that article where Sammy Watkins kind of breaks down like his time with the Bills, the stuff that he went through, his struggles, is actually a really good read. It was an interview with Sammy Watkins. I'll have to find
Super
it.
toxic. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
It was one of the better articles I've read about NFL, like period. It was one of my favorite reads. We've got another option, Mike Williams to the Pats. I wouldn't be too excited about that. Sheehan, I see you shaking your head. No, you wouldn't be too excited about that either.
No, and as a Pads fan, I don't think he fits that scheme either.
Be interesting. It would. I don't know that it's as much of a downgrade as I think the Eagles would probably be, but I wouldn't be that. I'd rather have him on the Chargers or re-sign to the Chargers.
Yeah.
Joey, your draft, you kind
Yeah.
of went with the not zero RB but with like the stud RB approach.
Hero
like you
RB.
grab your stud at the beginning, your hero RB. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. How are you feeling about your draft so far?
Man, I thought Lenny was going to make it to me, or maybe Hunt, and so they went the two running backs before me. So I was a little sad, but Connor showed that he can play this year. So, but before that, I love my draft. I love St. Brown. I love Ridley wherever he's going to end up next year. He still has the talent. Hopefully, he's got his head right. And then Godwin, hopefully, he's back with the Bucks. Yeah, I'm happy with my team.
Yeah, I love the way your team's coming together. And then Patrick Mahomes is the third quarterback off the board in the 5th round. I know that's still early quarterback, but I think that's a great value, Joey.
Yeah. Hold on.
Rock said Robert Woods also wasted his talent in Buffalo for a while. And bro, I had no idea that happened with the Bills. It's a good read. That article is about Sammy Watkins.
And it was a while. It was a long time ago. So my vitriol is probably outdated and undeserved, but just put a bad taste in my mouth.
Nice
Gross.
pick, Joey. I was hoping Cooks would make it back to me.
Well, he
Maybe-
didn't.
Maybe if we keep this going, before the end of the show, we'll have talked about Mike Williams to every team. So Mike Williams to the Vikings.
That would be interesting.
Replace Adam Thielen in that
If
offense.
Adam Thielen retires, yeah.
I mean, they play different roles, right?
They
They're
do.
not the same player on the field,
No.
but it would be interesting.
Yeah. Man, it would be quite the duo. Justin Jefferson and Mike Williams.
Yeah. Marty said Arizona. I can't see that happening. They've got a
So
plethora
many.
of pretty
But
talented
Mike
receivers
Williams,
there.
I don't know.
Hopkins.
I don't know. AJ Green's old. Christian Kirk's a free agent. What if they lose both those guys? I mean, I could see
Yeah.
that.
Oh man, DeAndre Hopkins and Mike Williams. That would JL. I would be a Cardinals fan. It would be Browns and Cardinals if those two guys were playing over there.
Oh,
I would
shoot, I'm
love
on the
that
clock.
so much. Yep, you got 48 seconds. And speaking of Adam Thielen, Jay Wall just grabbed him in this draft. One pick after Rondale Moore. So I think that's interesting. Sheehan, would you rather Rondale Moore or Adam Thielen on your dynasty roster?
I
I
feel
would-
sick for this last pick.
I would rather Adam Thielen. Obviously, there's unknowns about his future, but assuming he's fit, I will take Adam Thielen every day. I thought Rondale Moore was a bit overhyped. Obviously, started the season well, made me look an idiot, but I think we saw what he could do across the season. But
Yeah.
still an exciting player, fun to watch. But for fantasy purposes, I'm not sure there's a future there, a consistent future there.
I tend to agree with you. Would any of you guys be taking or Jay, would you take Rondale Moore over Adam Thielen, or are you on the Adam Thielen side? So you've got serious age, but with serious uncertainty on the other side.
I think I'd take Rondale Moore. It's really, really close. Adam Thielen's definitely the much safer pick, but if they do start using Rondale Moore in a Debo type role, he could, make that leap into the high end wide receiver 2 range.
Yeah, he's a little bit smaller than Debo though, right? He doesn't have the body
Right,
to
yeah, not
take that
right.
wear and tear, but yeah, I
Just
get what you're saying though.
The Swiss Army knife type of role, in the backfield, just everywhere.
Yeah, 100%. Scott Fish, and you're saying nothing worse than outdated vitriol. Yeah, 100%.
Outdated vitriol.
That's a good team name.
Tips.
Rock said he edged Rondale over Thielen because I have
Fudge.
Kyler and a younger team. Yeah, so that makes sense. If you have a younger team, kind of build to your team. You know what I mean? If you're not building a win now team, it may not make sense to draft Adam Thielen. I prefer to draft win now teams, but if you're drafting youth, then Rondale Moore over Thielen probably makes more sense.
Nice
and
pick,
Scott said
Sheehan.
a little bit smaller. Yes, Rondale is just a smidge smaller than Debo.
The tiniest amount.
I imagine it's a lot. He's a lot smaller than Debo, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna get an official measurement. Yeah. If Josh was here, he would know. So Rondale Moore weighs 181 pounds. How much does Debo Samuel weigh?
Ooh, let's all guess.
Everyone guess.
201.
210. No,
Jay?
that seems high.
197.
225.
216 is the answer.
Oh.
He's 216 pounds.
Did I win?
No, just I'm not sure why, but I don't think you win.
I win.
Cam wins 220. He was right there.
I said 210.
Yeah, but 220 is closer than 210 to 216.
Oh, they said
And
250.
Mr. Scampers with 262. That would be a big
Oh,
old
big
boy playing wide
boy.
receiver. That would be awesome.
That's
Yeah,
Kelvin Benjamin with
would
a
be
full bag of
phenomenal.
Doritos.
Yeah.
Mr. Scamper said, holy cow, just saw that Burrow went at 201. Yeah, Burrow was our first quarterback off the board in this draft. To Dr. Disc respect, drafted Joe Burrow up there. In my mind, that's a bit early for any quarterback in this format. But if Joe Burrow's your guy, I mean, fantasy's about getting your guys, right? And I'm not sure. He probably would have been there on the way back around, don't you think, with the way quarterbacks got drafted? You might have been able to wait a little bit, but this is why we mock. If you want Joe and you're drafting at the 12, I think you could wait another round. Probably get him in the 3rd, maybe even the 4th round. Scott said 5 inches and 30 pounds Debo has on Moore. Scott, this is a family show. Sheehan going Tyler Boyd right there. So you got the best slot receiver in the NFL in the 9th round. That's a pretty good value.
Yep, paired with a good quarterback, nice reliable option, not as flashy as Higgins or Chase, but can do the job. And I don't normally go an RB heavy team, so it's interesting to see how it plays out on the flip side, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, and for RB heavy, I don't think your wide receivers are. They're shaping up all right with Justin Jefferson, Devonta Smith, 2 young studs, and then you've got Tyler Boyd, someone fairly reliable in there as well. I generally don't go RB heavy either, but I'm liking the way your team is coming together on this one. JL, I hear you.
I hate drafting
moaning
with you
and
guys.
groaning up there. Terrace Marshall. So JL, do you usually like to just light your picks on fire and waste them at this point in the draft?
I love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, that's generally what you do with
Oh,
your ninth
come
round
on,
pick.
J-Wall.
But for real, do you have some faith in Terrace Marshall that he might be able to turn it around, that he might be able to have some fantasy value?
Hope, yes.
Or is this an upside thing? Like
It's yes. It's both. I believe in the talent. Yes, he did not have a fantastic rookie season, but it was just that. It was his rookie season. So I'm taking upside here over guys like Julio Jones, Laviska Shenault, Jarvis Landry, who I don't see that really the upside there. I'll go with Terrace Marshall, who I hope can develop. And again, he was on that same offense as DJ Moore, who we discussed earlier, who it's hard to succeed in a system that is not set up for you to succeed.
Yeah. Good thing you took 3 players from that team then.
Yes, I did. In fact, I did.
it's not too late.
Really hitching my horse to this fine wagon here.
I think with your next 3 picks, you should take all of the quarterbacks on the roster.
Robbie
you
Anderson.
should just take all their quarterbacks that way to make sure you've got the stack, since we don't know who's going to start, right? Just take all the Panthers quarterback, so make sure you get that stack in there. Mr. Scampers says he's liking your wide receiver, Sheehan. So Mr. Scampers likes your wide receivers. And you know what? For someone who waited till the 9th round for their third one, I think it came together pretty well. We've got a question in here. Does Madison stay with the Vikings? If not, he may turn into an RB1 somewhere. And Scott coming in with the qualifier. Do you mean after 2022? He's probably going to be with the team again this year. I believe his contract is through this year. Joey, do you think Madison has that lead back upside on another team?
I think he showed it this year. Last year, I was a little hesitant on him because when he did get the opportunity, it didn't really look like he had that RB1 last year. But this season, when he had the opportunity, he definitely did. So, yeah, I think he could go somewhere for sure.
I tend to agree with you. Jay, what about you?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I wouldn't have my expectations set too high. More of a back-end RB1 type of, if he's getting the full workload somewhere, then yeah. But he's proven that if he could put up some decent numbers if he's getting all the touches.
And while I agree with you guys, if he gets all the touches, something I'm going to say is we've seen it time and time again, these backups that we're just waiting for them to get the starting job, and it never happens. People pay up and trade for them like they're going to be the starter somewhere. JL was all in on Tevin Coleman. I know
Thank you for bringing that one up.
You're welcome. Getting that starting job.
I got an old one I was all in back in the day, Chester Taylor. I don't know if you guys remember him or not. I know
Simon was all in on Doug Martin.
I was all in on Doug Martin. Yeah, absolutely. I got one good season out of the muscle hamster though. But yeah, we see it over and over again where it just never quite comes to fruition. So I would hedge a little bit with Madison. I think the more likely scenario is he continues finding success in the role that he's currently in instead of becoming the RB1 somewhere, or joins another committee. Like those lead back roles are hard to find. And I'm not sure if Madison is good enough to command one on the open market.
The big difference between NFL, real NFL, and fantasy is that running backs don't really matter in the NFL. They're just not. I mean, they matter, but they're not as valuable to NFL teams. So it's really going to be dependent on the running back market, the free agent market, when he is a free agent as well. And so if he is one of the best talents that's available, and teams are willing to go out and get him, then there's a chance that he is a running back one. There's also a chance that the Vikings just re-sign him because he'll be cheap.
Every year, I mean, you've talked about this already. There's guys that you want to break out, find a new home, particularly backup running backs. I can't think of one that's really done it since Michael Turner in like 2008.
Eckler sort of.
Yeah, he didn't really move though.
No, you're right. He stayed the same.
He just grew into that role. They got rid of Melvin Gordon, and he kind of took over that back.
Man, he was a beast for a couple of years in Atlanta. My goodness.
Yeah, we've seen it again and again. I think there were some hopes with Latavius Murray after he had that awesome year with the. Sorry, I'm just forgetting. I'm blanking right here. Where
he was with Oakland originally.
Yep. That would happen again, and with also with who else was he with? He was on another team, right? Baltimore. He was with the Ravens. That's the team I was thinking of. Never quite panned out again after that. Pollard and Madison seem like similar situations. I think Pollard has more value while his starter is healthy is the only other thing. I think Pollard is a startable player, a flex-worthy player, week in, week out, even if Zeke is healthy. And I think next year it'll be even more so. That's not to say Zeke's a bad player or a bad fantasy pick, but Pollard, I think they have to get more involved. Sheehan, how do you feel about Pollard? You're the one who drafted Zeke here. Do you think Pollard has a role? Do you think he eats into Zeke's work next year at all?
I think if the Cowboys want to actually compete instead of just pretending they're a glamour franchise, they need to start using their better players, and Pollard is one of them. Gives them something that Zeke doesn't, gives them something that most of their offense doesn't, and that's real speed. He looks good every time he gets the ball, so I don't know why they're not trying to get the ball in his hands more. Yeah,
I'm with you. Brady says, I'm not in the draft, so someone needs to fulfill my legacy and draft Taj Boyd. So, Jail, you got it?
No.
Jail said, absolutely not. And Cam said, I think Dearness Johnson could be a starter too. Is that wishful thinking? I think so. I think it is wishful thinking. He's third on the depth chart on the Browns. I think he can be part of a committee somewhere. Know what I mean? I think his role could grow on a different team, or if Kareem Hunt leaves, we could see a little bit more, but I don't think he'll ever be like a lead back in the NFL. Does anyone think Dearness Johnson has what it takes to be a lead back?
He might be a lead back in the XFL or the USFL. I think he was the 101 in the XFL fantasy league I was in.
It checks out.
What? Oh, God! I thought I took KJ Osborne, and I was like, "What? What happened?"
But instead you got Gainwell. So JL, Gainwell showed flashes this year. Are you expecting him to have a consistent role next season, or is this more of a grab the backup for a heavy run team?
High upside rookie running back. Maybe they start to use him more. I am not really high on any of the Eagles running backs in the short term, but at this point we're picking scraps. Yeah, I think he has upside. He played well when he's been given the ball.
So rude to call these players scraps. How would Jarvis
Truth
Landry
hurts.
and Julio Jones you just called scraps?
This
Fun fact,
point in his career.
my uncle called my sister Scraps. That was her nickname because he said that she only got what was left over whenever my parents were done giving stuff to me. So they
knowing your family, that checks out.
So they called her Scraps. You know what? She's a better person than I am because of it.
Most people are.
Most people are
Sorry.
better. Not because of that, but yeah, most people are better people than me. That's fair. Feiji said, as a Giants fan, all this RB talk gets me pissed. Jay, what about you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
Yeah, you got a Giants fan that can commiserate with you on here. Rock wants to know, what's Ronald Jones' fantasy value considering he's only 24 and doesn't have much wear and tear on his body? Where did he get drafted in this draft? Oh, there he is.
He
in
went
the 10th round.
10th round. Yeah, that was a good pick.
So Joey, how do you feel about the value on Ronald Jones there?
I love that value on him right there. I don't think Lenny is long for the Bucks. I believe he's one more year
this
on
is
the
a family show.
What did I say?
Lenny is long.
Oh,
I think
Well,
that was
you're
a stretch.
bringing your own
That was a
biases.
stretch.
yeah, I think that's a stretch.
So,
Jay, this is a family show.
yeah, go Duke. So I don't know why I said that. That was rude. Yeah, no, I like Ronald Jones. I think Lenny's got one more year left in Tampa Bay on his contract. And I mean, Kashawn Vaughn looked really good yesterday, and he's shown really well in flashes. But maybe I shouldn't have said his name. But
Yeah, JL, how do you feel about Ronald Jones? Do you think this is a good spot for him to be drafted? Do you think he has value in a dynasty league?
He has value, yes. He's talented. I don't know if he's talented enough to like hold consistent value. So I think this is probably where I take him. I might even take him a little bit higher than this, but it remains to be seen how he gets used in that offense. They just go from. It seems like he's just like what's the word I'm looking for? He's disposable to Bruce Arians. And that's not a good place to be. Yeah,
I think you're right there. Cam wants to know, if Thielen retires, KJ Osborne has a third-year breakout. How do you guys feel about KJ Osborne? Sheehan, I see you nodding your head right there.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Osborne. Another of my nicknames, the Purple Goblin, for KJ Osborne.
That is
on
a
my
good one.
dynasty roster since he was a rookie. I was stoked to see him blow up early in the season, and I think he's the number 2 or number 3, and I think that 3 probably has a little bit of standalone value in deeper leagues, but if he's the 2 in that offense, yeah, sign me up.
Yeah, I'm with you. Jay, what about you? Do you think similarly to Sheehan about KJ Osborne?
Yeah, absolutely. And it also depends who the quarterback is. If Kirk Cousins is there, I feel a lot more comfortable saying that. If it's somebody else, you don't know, because Kirk loves to chuck the ball. So depends who's there.
We've got a question for you, Jay, for the Giants fan. It's 3rd and 9 on your own 20. What play do you run?
you know the answer.
Quarterback sneak.
Nailed it. And then, Jay, we're going to come to you first on this one as well as the Giants fan. In Dynasty, Daniel Jones or Zach Wilson? Who would you prefer to have on your roster?
Guys just trying to rip my heart out and throw it on the floor and stomp on it. I will go Zach Wilson. I think Daniel Jones is fine. I think if he was on a team that was already established, good offensive line, good defense, I think he could be good enough to lead a team, to a deep playoff run. I don't ever see him being the guy that's going to elevate a team. Even though Zach Wilson's really struggled, I could see him developing into that more than I could ever see Daniel Jones become that.
Yeah. Joey, what about you? Are you preferring Zach Wilson in this scenario as well, or would you prefer Daniel Jones?
I was making my pick. Let's see, who is it? Daniel Jones or Zach Wilson? Zach Wilson has a job, so go with Zach Wilson.
That's a good point too.
Also, Scott Fish coming in here saying Kirk Cousins will be here next year. 45 million uncuttable reasons. So I'm guessing he's still under contract for 45 million buckaroos. So yeah, he'll probably still be there next year. Mr. Scamber said 39 on your own 20. You fire the entire coaching staff and front office and sell the team. That's the play you run on.
That's how you do it.
If they would only sell the team, but that's
and give everyone a medium Pepsi.
Yeah,
not everyone, just season ticket holders.
Lukewarm.
Right? True. Say you're going to give everyone a medium Pepsi, but then only deliver for season ticket holders, and that should fix the franchise.
No ice.
Can't do
no ice. You know what though? It's not the most. What were those pictures of the Washington football team zip tying the railing up that collapsed? Right? Did you guys like as bad as the medium Pepsi thing was? How about the railing literally collapsed with fans on it and they zip tied it back up? That's pretty awful right there.
Yeah, it's the worst thing the Washington football team did all year.
Wink.
Oh God. JL. You waited on quarterback all the way until
Simon,
the 11th
round
take right
Robbie
here.
Anderson this round.
Okay, that was my question. No, are you happy with Trevor Lawrence as your starter right there in a one quarterback league in Dynasty? Are you like if this was a longer draft, like 20 plus rounds, you think you'd be drafting maybe someone older like a veteran, or are you happy rolling with Trevor Lawrence?
Well, wait and see what I do in the later rounds of this draft. Or maybe
you heard
this
that
round.
J Wall take another quarterback. I'm just kidding.
But I love this strategy, right? This is especially in a one QB league, this late round quarterback strategy, and I feel like this went perfectly. I was deciding between Trevor Lawrence and Matt Stafford. But Trevor Lawrence, he was the highest quarterback available based off my rankings here. Long term, I think he's going to be a fantastic quarterback. Next season, I don't know. There's a lot that we still have to figure out. Who's going to be the coach there? What moves are they going to make in the offseason? And so I'll likely take someone like Trevor Lawrence and then pair him with someone like, look at all this talent on the board still. You still have Carson Wentz, Ryan Tannehill, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. That's where it ends. I'm not going to say Baker Mayfield or Derek Carr. But any of these guys who can bridge that gap until Trevor is in a system that's, that is better suited for him. And he's able to really get some momentum going.
Well, there goes Tom Brady to J Wall.
Really tempted to take Aaron Rodgers just to mess with you,
That's fine.
JL, but no.
Go for it.
JL, I think that decision you're making between Trevor Lawrence and Matthew Stafford is actually a really close one. Those guys are back-to-back in my dynasty quarterback rankings. QB 10 and
Stafford's
11.
older.
Yeah, Stafford's older. I've got him one spot ahead of Lawrence, but I would have sat there struggling with it and probably would have ended up making the same decision as you and going Lawrence. Sheehan, do you prefer Lawrence or Stafford? If you are on the clock, you don't have a quarterback yet. This is your first quarterback drafting in a dynasty league. Which of those two guys are you taking?
If I'm in a win now mode, it's Stafford.
Yeah, so I guess with the team that you're drafting, you would probably prefer Stafford over Trevor Lawrence right now. But he got Lamar Jackson in the 6th, so you don't even have to worry about that. I think that was great value on the quarterback there. We're approaching our last pick. We'll see who Swamp closes the draft out with. Who's it going to be? Any predictions?
Taj Boyd.
And I really like that pick by JR, the Sony Michel. I thought about taking him. If Gronk was gone, I would have. But he's a free agent. He's still relatively young. If he winds up somewhere where he's going to get some work, that could be a steal at that late.
Yeah, absolutely. I like the way JR's team is shaping up. I'm looking at this. I hadn't looked at it from top to bottom, but
I was considering Sony Michel where I took Gainwell.
Oh, that far back, and then you just needed to shore up the quarterback position.
I was too. It was tough. I really like that pick a lot.
Guys, Scott has a question for us as we wrap up this draft. Predictions on the Washington football team new name coming up on the 2nd. I'll go first. I'm going with, and it's wishful thinking, I'm just trying to will it into existence, the Washington Monuments. I think it would be such a badass name. That would be so cool. I'll say Washington Monuments. Sheehan, what do you think?
I think it's going to be a real dumbass name. It'll be something like the Admirals, so they're going to sound like a creator team on Madden, but not like a cool one. So maybe the Washington Schneider Cuts.
Snyder Cuts.
The Washington Schneider Cuts. Jay, what about you?
Very long.
There's been a lot of rumors that it's going to be the Commanders and some leaks that I don't know. maybe they could be fake, but I think there's too much there. I think it's going to be the Commanders.
The Commanders, JL?
The fact that Red Hogs is like part of the conversation
This is
here
a
shows you
family show.
how dumb the Washington football team is. But I agree with Sheehan. I think it'll be something stupid. I think that a lot of people are thinking it's going to be Admirals or something stupid like that.
Something stupid like that. You guys got a lot of hate for the Admirals. Joey, what about you?
Yeah, I am really 100% buying into the conspiracy theory. It's on Groundhog Day. It will be the Washington Groundhogs. Just picture first game of the season, Bill Murray walks out to the field, hands the ball to the starting quarterback, Russell Wilson, for the now Groundhogs. I mean, it would just be incredible. I'm going Groundhogs, and if it's not that, I don't know. But I did say I will leave the Buccaneers if they are the Washington Groundhogs. That would just make
Really.
I hope it's the.
Yeah.
I'm with
Well,
Jay Wall
it's
on
on,
this.
and now it's on film.
I hope it's the Red Tails. That would be phenomenal.
Yeah, that would be the
That'd be
best
great.
one.
Yeah, that would
But
be besides the monument.
It's Dan Snyder, so you know.
Yeah, they're not
going to
going to
happen.
do that.
Or just keep the football team. What's wrong with that name? It's good enough. Like I like it. I think it's fun. It's unique. There's no other team in the NFL with like a name like that. But we'll see. It's coming up in a couple weeks right there. So we'll see what's going on. Also, Rock wants to know what's your top 2 teams of the draft, top contender and top rebuilder. Well, Rock, coming out this week before Wednesday, there will be a mock draft review on our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy. So keep your eyes peeled for that. We'll tweet it out as well whenever it is live. So if you guys want to see a breakdown of some of these teams, our favorites, our least favorites, make sure you guys watch that video once it
Tell
does
us in the
come
comments
out.
too. Tell us who your choices are in the comments.
Yeah, 100%. Let us know which teams you like, which teams you didn't, why, which picks of JLs that you hated, which ones of J's that you hated, and which ones of Sheehan's that you loved. Just throw those in the comments. Scott said Snyder will name the team the Washington Super Bowl champions just so he can say it. Hey, that's not a bad strategy.
I feel like that is something he would do.
I don't remember who this was in relation to. Can anybody remember?
Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence.
He said Trevor Lawrence had the least catchable throw. I watched on tape this year. It was so bad, so consistently terrible accuracy. He has to be better. No real way to be worse. And they said, I'm not talking percent. I'm talking under, over, off mark. It was gross.
That's some spiteful messages there. I think that's directly from Scott to you, JL.
I don't think it's spiteful at all. I think he's calling it as he sees it. And I don't disagree with him. I just think that we have to take some of this off of Trevor Lawrence's shoulders and put it on his coaches and the team's back as well. Share the blame.
Yeah, and Rock in here
Me
just getting
too,
ahead
Rock.
of it, saying
Me
I hate
too.
all of JL's every single one of them.
Wow.
And the Washington waiver wires, I like that one. That's a pretty good one.
I like the sound of that.
Guys, that is going to be it for us today. A big thanks to our guest Sheehan for joining us. Guys, if you're not already following him, please go and follow him on Twitter at Sheehan Solo. It is right there below his face on the screen. He's one of our favorites in this space. And the best Australian NFL fantasy writer. It's right there in his bio. It's indisputable.
Real quick, trading makes fantasy fun.
There it is.
Yep, and JR was in the chat there with it right there. Chris said Superflex draft next week. Jay, is that the plan? You're the man behind the schedule.
Maybe we
We'll
could
see.
possibly make that happen. We'll see. You have to tune in. Make sure you subscribe to find out.
Look at that. Jay with the manipulative subscribe tactic.
Yeah.
But that's how we do it here. We're manipulators, guys. That just with subscriptions, though. I want to make
Emphasis
that
Washington
on nips.
manipulators. That's good.
the Washington.
Yeah, it
that's
fits.
awful.
Did you miss it? JL said emphasis on nips.
Manipulator. Okay, guys, before we say nips too many more times on this show, we don't want to beat our record from
Nips,
yesterday.
nips,
That
nips,
is going to be
nips,
it
nips.
for us today. We'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time playing some more games, so make sure to tune in then. Until then, we are out of here. Adios, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Nips.